May 25, 1961. U.S. President John F. Kennedy makes a speech to Congress that will change the course of human progress. His goal? To place a man on the moon before the end of the decade. By 1961, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, has already put Project Mercury into operation. At Cape Canaveral, Florida, preparations are well underway. The Redstone rocket will propel the Mercury capsule into space with 78,000 pounds of thrust. The Mercury spacecraft will carry a chimpanzee specially trained for the mission. One of these animals will be selected. It will be trained to operate levers in accordance with flashing colored lights. Each one is placed in variable environmental conditions within the capsule to test reactions to changes in pressure, temperature, and oxygen levels. Back at the Marshall Space Flight Center and at the manufacturers, testing on the vital equipment continues. The landing impact bag will provide protection against wind and wave action when the capsule splashes down in the ocean. After testing, the Mercury and Redstone are taken to the launch pad at Cape Canaveral. The launch vehicle and spacecraft stands at a total height of 84 feet. Its takeoff weight is over 66,000 pounds. The steel gantry surrounding the rocket will provide a means of access. Mercury is transported to the booster and attached. The Redstone will lift the Mercury craft to an altitude of 120 miles. After 2.5 minutes, separation will then see the Mercury reach a speed of 5,000 miles per hour. The chimpanzee will undergo 4.5 minutes of weightlessness. The total flight time will be 15.5 minutes. Finally, it's time to decide which chimpanzee will make the flight. Each one is given a full medical examination. Their temperature, heart, hearing, vision, and blood pressure are all thoroughly checked. A male animal is chosen. He's given the name Ham after the Holloman Aerospace Medical Center, where he's been raised and trained. The electrodes attached to his feet will administer a gentle shock if he fails to react to the lights inside his specially designed cubicle. Ham has learned well. On seeing the red light, he will push the red lever once every 20 seconds. He will push the white lever when he sees the blue light. Meanwhile, the recovery teams prepare for Ham's return. They proceed to the predicted landing area in the Atlantic. Ham arrives for the launch at Cape Canaveral just before dawn on January 31st, 1961. Some 500 staff from NASA sit in mission control, awaiting final countdown. Scientists carefully monitor Ham as Mercury Redstone 2 sits on the launch pad. At 5 minutes before noon, ignition occurs. Ham is on his way. But his heartbeat and respiration are irregular. The Mercury has gone higher and faster than programmed. Something is wrong. The mission is aborted. Now the spacecraft is acting as it is supposed to. Ham's readings finally fall to an almost normal level. His life support systems are reacting correctly. And then, re-entry. This procedure will go to plan. The capsule lands further downrange due to its increased altitude and speed. Fortunately, it is spotted from the air. The recovery ships replot their course. They must hurry. When Ham is picked up over 2.5 hours after splashdown, wave action has torn off the impact bag. The capsule has taken on 800 pounds of seawater and comes close to submerging. Ham is removed from the capsule. Despite sustaining 18 Gs of pressure instead of 11 Gs because of the additional velocity, Ham is fit and well. Ultimately, the mission proves to be a success. The untimely abort and incorrect trajectory will be worked on. However, Ham's journey proves that man, or at least his closest cousins, can endure spaceflight and return to Earth unharmed. Five months after the success of Mercury Redstone 2 and Ham the chimpanzee, NASA is ready for manned spaceflight. Less than 2.5 years after its initiation, Program Mercury is preparing for its first manned mission. Mercury now enters Phase 2 of its objective, the investigation of man's performance capabilities and his ability to function in the environment of space. NASA's 7 prospective pilots now undergo extensive spaceflight training. Originally selected from 110 of America's finest armed service test pilots, they have already undertaken many mental and physical examinations. The flight test program continues. The Mercury capsule is rigorously tested to reduce any risk. The pilots have to become as familiar as possible with their equipment. In addition to pressure suit tests, there are tests for acceleration, vibration, pilot orientation and accuracy, zero-gravity performance, and numerous psychiatric tests. They have to be fully able to carry out vital procedures and collect huge amounts of data. At sea, the recovery teams develop the procedures to react instantly to Project Mercury's requirements for pilot and capsule recovery. On the launch pad, technicians raise the mighty Redstone and Atlas launch boosters, on top of which will sit the next Mercury capsule, Freedom 7. Rehearsals and simulations are carried out back at the test center to plan every possible scenario. Of the 7 chosen men, 37-year-old Alan B. Shepard is selected for Mercury's first manned spaceflight. Shepard is given his medical examination. Sensors are attached to his body to record any change from now until the end of the mission. Shepard is taken out to the launch area. He makes his way up to the capsule, some 90 feet above.